see the way they hate. And I know better than to listen to the people who are calling us slaves. I can feel the sunlight shining.
Well, good morning, everyone. My name's Brian, and today is Tuesday, September 10th, 2024, and this is episode 770 of the Lots Project podcast, and it's titled, Here It Comes. I'll be chatting about the storm headed this way, new ruins in the rainforest. Oh, surprise, surprise. The NFL circus, and a little bit more, whatever comes up this morning. First, let's head over into the live chat. Who's hanging out in the coffee crew, and we'll hang out for about an hour. I got a pot of coffee made, and hopefully you do too. And we will see how things go. Good morning, Pip in way early, heading out to watch that SpaceX launch. Was supposed to happen at 5:15 a.m. Eastern time. So just about 2 hours ago now. Hopefully it went well, and Pip got to enjoy the show. Good morning, Blakesley Akers. Thanks for stopping in. Excited to meet you in person here at SRF at the end of the month. I think I'm pretty sure Kyle said you were a solid go for hanging out with us, heading down to Tennessee to enjoy the festival. Hunter, good morning over on Twitch. How we doing? And Food Forest Farms. It's what's in the cup. Hopefully Brian's having a good day. He suddenly had a lot of free time on Sunday night. When you get that call and they're like, yeah, well, we don't need you to come to work for a while. It's just a layoff. We'll call you back when we call you back to tell you you're still laid off for a while. Get while the getting's good. You sound like you enjoyed the time there. Canadian Farmstead pops in, says he's driving. But anyway, Food Forest Farms has plenty of time now to roast up some coffee. Good morning, Jim. Thanks for popping in, and appreciate the zap over there on Nostr. Just blasted out a post on Nostr. We'll see if anybody swings in through the crowd there. I don't have my... Oh. I wonder if I can do this while it's rolling. That's not good. Anyway, just popped a note over on Nostr. We're gonna try to grow that a little bit, and I'm gonna try this, guys. I'm sorry, I thought this was in another window, but obviously not. There we go. Anyway, dropped a link over on Nostr that we're going live. I think I'm going to start pushing that stream a little bit more. So if you're over on Nostr, drop a comment and maybe a zap, and I will see if it pops up here in the chat window I have open on the side. Yeah, still getting a handle on the streaming to Nostr. It doesn't work as seamlessly as everything else. I got to open a bunch more tabs and things. So, but anyway, what's in the cup this morning? I got that Food Forest Farms in the cup. I was working on a bag of FTO Blonde Espresso, which is fantastic. I know it's one of K-Bonk's. It's up there on K-Bonk's list. Brian told me it's one of the blends he's most proud of at one point. And hey, yeah, dude, I'll get right with you in a second over there on the vertical feed. Why don't you stick around for a bit, hit the like and the subscribe, and I'll be right back to your comment. The FGO Blonde is fantastic. It's just a fantastic blend. And I was running down to the bottom of the bag, and I weighed out my beans this morning, and I was I don't know, just about 10 grams short on the FTO Blonde. So I popped open a bag of GSD blend and topped it with 10% or 10 grams, 20% out of my 50-ish grams with some GSD blend. It's good. It's good. It is good. Jim says, Jim says he's drinking Clyde this morning from Food Forest Farms. You can find it over there at foodforestfarms.com. If you want 10% off, if you want to give it a try, it's super, super high end. Very, very high end air roasted, clean stream air roasted coffee by a real human being, micro batch roasted. And it's just fantastic coffee. So if you're looking to score a bag and the price isn't low enough already, it's a fantastic price for a fantastic product. But if you're looking to score some and you want to save 10%, use discount code LOTS10, LOTS10 on your first order for 10% off. Always free shipping. He would break the bank if he continued to give 10% off all the time. The price is just that good. So check it out, foodforestfarms.com. There's a big old buy now button there. Smash that and put the code in. Food Forest Farm says, I got to use the Unique Coffee Lab up in Seattle, and I got all their guys for one day to help on that FTO blonde. That's nice. Food Forest Farm says it's literally the best coffee he can do with what he can source. Yeah, dude, over on the vertical feed says, I just learned that James Earl Jones passed yesterday. I didn't know what test he was taking. Whether we all die or not, I guess. I think it gets death is weird. The way people talk about it. Hunter says R.I.P. Rest in peace. Yeah. I didn't necessarily know James Earl Jones. It's this weird. I have this weird outlook on death. Really, it's it happens. We're all gonna do it. The celebrity death, the tragic death. We talked about the school shooting the other day. And it comes off as harsh and callous, but people die every day. I mean, we looked up the number, how many kids. It was like 5,500 kids die every day. But we're weeping over a few in a school because they put it on the news. It really jades you towards having feelings. I guess. Good morning, Jamie. Off Grid Ping. Thanks for popping in. If you guys don't follow Jamie's channel, Off Grid Ping, on all of the stuff on YouTube and TikTok, you should. He puts out some cool stuff. He's had to slow down a little bit with having some stuff occupy his days recently, but definitely check out his channels and give him a subscribe. That's Off Grid Ping. Search it, you'll find it. Off Grid Ping, like the golf clubs. Are you the golf club manufacturer heir, Jamie? But death gets weird. Are you sad that James Earl Jones died? Did you know that the last movie credit he had on IMDb or whatever, the movie listing, he hasn't done anything in over 2 years. I was looking back at the shit that this dude was in, and I'm like, holy crap. And I posted it in my group when after I found out, after Rachel from Rewilder Life posted that he had died, Corey and I were talking about him. I was like, hey, did you know James Earl Jones died? And she's like, who? You're gonna have to show me a picture. She is definitely not a celebrity. She doesn't know anybody by name, really. She'll recognize them by picture. I shouldn't say anybody. She knows certain genres of people, but she's like, show me a picture. And I showed her, and we were kind of naming off the top of our head the stuff that he was in. And I was like, well, he was in Lion King. And she's like, who is he in Lion King? I was like, you don't recognize him? But anyway, out of the whole list of things that James Earl Jones was in, the one we settled on that we wanted to watch last night, we didn't end We watched something else. What did we watch last night, Corey? Before that, though. Fargo. I can't even fucking remember. That's how important it was last night. We wanted to watch Coming to America, the original Coming to America, but it wasn't available on Prime, and it was like $15 to buy it. And I'm like, it'll come around at some point. It'll come around at some point again, especially soon now that he died. But yeah, Coming to America. Off-Grid Ping says Darth Vader. Yeah. First thing that pops into my head with James Earl Jones, though, is I'm pretty sure it's Field of Dreams from when I was a kid. So that was interesting. Food Forest Farm says my first real set of golf clubs was custom fake pings. That's interesting. When I was like 12, 13, maybe somewhere around there, my dad upgraded his clubs, and I ended up with a set of Ping I2s. And then for the majority, the rest of the time I played golf, I ran with Titleist DCI Blacks that I won at a golf course giveaway on vacation on spring break. Food Forest Farms says Eddie Murphy. Yeah, in Coming to America. That movie is just phenomenal. Louis Anderson as the manager of McDonald's. It was just, yeah, that movie is fantastic. Jim says, this is CNN. This is CNN. Can I do James Earl Jones a little bit? This is CNN. I sound like a large black man. Anyway, let's get into it. Had a good day yesterday. Feeling way better. Feeling absolutely like night and day difference from last week. The stuff is nasty. If you get the stuff popping around, the stuff that's hitting the COVIDs, I guess it would be the COVIDs, this version, whatever year this is, 2024. So it would be COVID 23. Isn't that how we named it? It was it first came around in 19, so we and hit hard in December, moving into 20. So that was the COVID-19. Do we update the year every year when we get a new variant, or is it just going to be forever COVID-19? Or did we just drop the number? Because I remember we did variants like with Greek letters. Whatever it is this year, the 2024 version sucks. It sucks. We went to our friend's house for dinner on Wednesday. We had pretty consistently weekly dinners with our friends Norman and Herschel here close that we met locally, like-minded folks that moved down here from New Hampshire. We had a pretty consistent weekly dinner, and we both got sick, and we figure it was from somebody at the restaurant. Server wasn't sick. Hostess wasn't sick. We're guessing probably somebody in the kitchen was blowing fucking COVID AIDS germs all over our food. And we all got it. Experiences may vary. Ours were all different. All four of us had like different cycles through this thing, but it was all a long fucking time. What's with losing your taste and getting it back? I had never really experienced anything like that, and I actually did this time. I lost some of the taste in probably why I didn't eat a whole probably why I didn't eat a whole lot. I was exhausted and didn't feel real well, but nothing tasted anything, and that's coming back. I was glad, and I never really lost the coffee taste, so that was good. That was what they were saying the other night was, they buy this premium coffee that they've been buying for years and years and years, and they're drinking it and they can't taste it. They're like, we might as well just go get some fucking Folgers for the week. Canadian Farmstead says that's a feature from the lab. For sure. Is that like a natural occurring symptom in disease is loss of taste? I always found that interesting. I think I've only had this shit twice in the 4 years or whatever it's been. Maybe once. I'm pretty like I've never been tested for this stuff. I've never been tested, so I don't really know. I went through a bout when we were down in Texas where I was down for a week. That was a respiratory thing. Could have been. Had similar symptoms. When you make this mutant disease or whatever it is, it just has so many different symptoms and it doesn't line up. So I think that's like a catch-all. That's what we just call it. Jamie says, FYI, lost a sense of taste and smell are also side effects of radiation sickness. Interesting. And it's an endemic now, forever the COVID. But I don't know if I actually had it in Texas. I don't know if that's what it was. I'm pretty sure this is what it was this time, but like really does it matter what I had? The experience was phenomenal. Definite recommend. But the losing taste is never always, even from the beginning when they were listing symptoms and they say, oh, well, you can lose your taste. I'm like, I don't understand. Why am I losing my taste from a chest cold? There you go. You lost your taste. It came back, so that's good. Because I really enjoy the coffee. Let's get to the list. For today. We have a little bit of rain coming our way. Are you ready, Jamie? It's been dry here. Been super dry. Last Friday night. I think it was last Friday night. We got deluged. It rained pretty hard for a few hours overnight. Went outside in the morning. Everything was still damp, puddles and stuff like that around. And that was really the first significant rain in a month or so. Pretty sure August, there was a little bit right at the beginning and a little bit right at the end. And then the first week of September, we got a decent amount on Friday night. Canadian Farmstead says, based on how I dress, you lost your taste of... I lost my taste a long time ago. I lost my give a fucks. Maybe it was because of a similar situation as Tennessee in August, and there was a drought, and the field where I cultivate my fucks had runneth barren, dry and dusty from conventional farming of the fucks I was giving. Ruined the soil. I didn't have any NPK to put on it to cultivate my fucks, and they're just all gone. So I stopped giving them and started just wearing what I wanted. Be thankful I put any clothes on. But it was super dry here. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, I believe, has forecasted rain, starting with the biggest on Thursday. And I kept seeing this growing on the extended forecast. On the extended forecast. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? Why is it going to rain so much? It was like over an inch on Thursday. Now it's up to almost 2 inches. And now for like the 3 days of the main rain, it's up to like 3+ inches. And I'm like, I remember it getting know I remember it getting rainy in the fall and going into the winter, but I didn't remember it just being like 3 inches in 3 days. What the fuck is going on? So I started looking. Oh, there was a hurricane or there's a hurricane or I guess it's a tropical storm maybe still. I don't know if the classification went up. But Francine is supposed to. I think it's a tropical storm still, and possibly rolling up into a category 1 or 2 by the time it hits landfall. They weren't really sure when I checked last night. But supposed to come up through Louisiana, and I'm looking at, they're called spaghetti diagrams. I guess I'm learning a lot about hurricane tracking in the like the 20 minutes last night I was digging into this, because what the fuck am I going to do? It's going to rain. Hey, Ollie, what's now out to you, Ollie, for the weather report. It's raining. Like, what the fuck? The spaghetti diagrams of where it's going to track after it hits landfall. Man, they all kind of go right over us. Like we're pretty far inland. Like it has to cross Louisiana, Mississippi, and then get to Tennessee. But dumpy dump come the end of the week, we're supposed to get like 3 inches of rain. Really makes me wonder why I didn't work completely on the gutter project for the shed last weekend. Instead, I was working on pumping water from the creek and clearing trails. So I'm gonna head out today, and I got some videos to record. I got some stuff some other stuff to work on, but I just don't think I can pound out. I don't know if I can get those gutters up in time for the rain, and then it looks like I'll probably be on a rain delay for a couple days after it starts to get them up. But anyway, I was targeting this fall for testing that system. I don't know. I suppose if we're supposed to get almost 2 inches of rain on Thursday, when this shit, the bulk of it hits, that would be a good test for the gutter system. But it's not quite ready. Thanks, COVID. You know, I only started working on that like 3.5 weeks ago. Fucking stupid. That's it is what it is, right? It is what it is. So we're gonna batten down the hatches and ride out this hurricane. As I was looking into it, of course, my Facebook picks up that I'm looking at this, and it also knows that I'm in all these RV groups. So it just starts feeding me all these posts about RV preparedness for hurricanes. Like it couldn't tell that we weren't on the coast of fucking Louisiana. I guess just because I'm searching the paths of the hurricane, the Facebook assumes that I'm going to be hit right with the brunt of it. And I found some interesting stuff. I found some discussions, people asking, they're like, hey, I got to leave my fifth wheel. I won't be staying in it. I'll be going to stay with family. I'll be going to stay locally with family, but I can't move my fifth wheel. I'm sure it's got like they're like semi-permanent residents or something with issues. Can't move it for some, whether it's a deck attached to it, they don't have anywhere to put it. I think this person said they had work, so they couldn't leave and come back. She's like, what do I do? Do I fill my tanks? Do I leave my slide ins, my bump outs? Like I've heard people call them a few different things. Do I leave them out or put them in? What do you guys think? Like if you were in an RV and you were going to either ride out a hurricane, because there was a lot of people in the comments that said that they've ridden out up to a category 3 in an RV with being within 50 miles of the eye. And I'm like, good for you. I mean, I guess you got to do what you got to do. But if you were going to leave an RV or stay in it, what would your setups be for a hurricane? Corey and I, when we took our maiden voyage in this, when we drove from Minnesota to, good morning, John Palmer. We drove from Minnesota to Seattle and back, or out to Squatch Fest and back. There was one night we stayed up on the top of a mountain on some public land, on some federal land, and we were parked right on the edge of a cliff. And as the evening approached, the wind got stronger and stronger and stronger on top of the hill. And Corey and I started looking up how much wind it takes to tip over an RV. Because all I was thinking was we were going to be sleeping and the wind gust is going to catch us and we're going to start to flip. And we were parked so close. We were parked so close to the cliff that if we had taken one tumble, we would have been down. I would have to say it was 70 feet ish or more. Beautiful view, but scary when we're supposed to have like 60-mile-an-hour winds and campers could get tipped over in 50 plus. Food Forest Farm says he does his show without pants. Oh, when I was talking about doing the show naked. Wilder Life, good morning. Thanks for popping in. Jim says he's not gonna watch the morning show, Good Morning Seattle with Sensei Scrambling over there because he goes pantless. Jim, I've been I don't think I've ever had nothing on. Nah, I wouldn't have done that. Shorts mostly. But anyway, so if you're going to leave your RV in a hurricane, if you're going to be experiencing high winds, and Hunter says I always have my hat on. Very true. That's a technicality. If you're going to leave your RV in a hurricane, this was what the consensus was. I shouldn't really say that. It was like 50. I would say 60-40. 60% of the people were like, fill all your tanks, leave your slides out, lock your doors, deadbolt everything, make sure it's as secure as possible, take pictures of the outside for insurance, and let it rip. Then 40% of the people were like, put your slides in, they'll tear off the sides of the thing, blah, 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 blah. And a guy in there was like, he said he was an RV safety specialist or some shit. And he's like, okay, well, anybody saying fill your tanks, you're completely right. Obviously weight, and Corey brought up a good point. I was thinking weight. Corey's like, yeah, you're gonna want the water when the hurricane rolls through and everything floods. It'd be nice to have an extra 40 gallons. I was thinking I didn't want to tip over or blow away. But for a multitude of reasons, you fill up your tanks. And then he's like, you leave your slides out. He's like, the bigger footprint, the wider footprint with the shear winds to the side will actually stabilize it more and make it less tip heavy. And the fact that if the wind, he said, if the wind is strong enough to blow your slides off and damage your slides, if they had been in, it would have already tipped the RV over. I was like, that makes sense, I guess. Unless it's coming from the front or the back. I don't think it's going to take and flip it over end to end. But I definitely could see some wind shear doing some damage to a slide from the front. I don't know. These people in these groups, I'm glad I didn't join Facebook groups before we did this, and I did a lot of reading and research on my own and not just ask questions on Facebook groups, because I dive into the comments on questions that like I know the answer to, and man, the people that give bad advice, the people that give dangerous advice, it scares me. Like, I'm glad I didn't just go whole hog in it and trust the internet. Canadian Farm says this can't argue with an RV safety specialist. Like, I did click on his profile, and that was his job. Like, he worked for one of the major manufacturers as a safety rep or some shit. I was like, oh, he might have had to pass a class to get that title. Rewilder Life says those things aren't designed for storms. Very true, they're not. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Food Forest Farm says he just applied as a RV tech. Don't do it. Don't do it. You're gonna hate your life. You're gonna hate your life for sure. Anyway, so Francine is the tropical storm headed through the Gulf. It's supposed to pop up through Louisiana. It doesn't really matter which path it takes. We're gonna get hammered with rain up here. So, goody. We have issues with our camper when it rains, especially when it rains heavily. And so, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Ruider Life says, I hope we get rain. We need it. Yeah, we're going to get over 3 inches in Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, basically. So, yeah, we're going to, you can take some if you want it. So that's kind of today's or last night's worry, and moving into today. The next thing I had on the list was an interesting article that popped up on my I'm still dealing with the accidentally hitting that bottom toolbar thing and the huge like news stories and all that popping up. But sometimes there's actually a winner that pops up there. This one that I found today, or I guess this was the other day, and it was actually published 7 months ago. So you might have heard about this. The archaeologists have been digging around in the Amazon, and they found a what was quote unquote a mind-blowing cluster of ancient lost civilizations in the Amazon rainforest. What struck me, there's a few things that struck me about this article. I kind of geek out about lost civilizations. I've gone down a lot of roads with like the Middle East and the things they find there. The all the different ancient civilizations that they're finding that they didn't know were there, but we've written history as a given, and started at timeline whatever, and just discounted the fact about all these things that they find after the fact. So I like to kind of dive into that shit when I see a discovery's been made prior to written history or blah 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 and this and that. So I pop on these articles quite a bit when I see the headlines. Some things struck me about this. Let me see. This guy quote, the study co-author, the study was done by the French National Center for Scientific Research. They've been doing this stuff called LIDAR, light detecting and ranging technology. It's a way they scan areas and they can find what's underneath. Jim says, looks like everyone below the Mason-Dixon is going to get rain from Francine. How far west does the Mason-Dixon line run? Does it go all the way to the Pacific Ocean? Anyway, the French National Center for Scientific Research was using this LiDAR technology, and they found evidence of a 2,500-year-old settlement that they believe had the population of 10,000 up to at probably 100,000 people. But the guy, this Antoine Dorison from the French National Center for Scientific Research, says it changes the way we see Amazonian cultures. Most people picture small groups, probably naked, living in huts and clearing land. This shows ancient people lived in complicated urban societies. Something struck me about that statement. This dude's like, yeah, everybody just thinks there's naked people running around the Amazon, little tribes. That's because that's what it's been portrayed as. I don't think anybody naturally goes, well, I probably figure there's a bunch of naked Indians running around the rainforest with spears and hunting people and cannibals. Like, those are the cartoons images. Hunter says, why not naked in the city? That's another thing. Like, there's plenty of naked cities. But anyway, these guys are absolutely astonished by this thing they found. The notes are here. It says an estimated 90% of human Amazonian history is lost within the jungle itself. A new discovery has uncovered a small but substantial piece of that history. Archaeologists uncovered a settlement in eastern Ecuador, rivaling the complexity of ancient civilizations found in Mexico and Central America. Weird. Although little is known about the people who lived there, the society flourished from 500 BCE, which sent me down the fucking BC, BCE, AD, fucking CE time stamps. Flourished from 500 BCE until somewhere between 300 and 600 CE. So we got like 1,100 years of history that they just found, and its population height might have reached might have reached into the 100,000 range. So this is pretty significant in my eyes. They being the general consensus of archaeologists who put out text and whatever, basically wrote off the whole Amazon. Why? Because they couldn't find the shit. Now that they have technology, they can fly over and like scan everything, and they're like, oh, that might have been like a city. Whatever people in the article, so he talks about the naked people, and then he says, whatever people occupied this area likely thrived from around 500 BCE until somewhere between 300 and 600 CE. Although the LiDAR scans, which benefit from LiDAR's unique ability to penetrate the all-encompassing forest canopy, show various platforms, plazas, arranged streets, and drainage, one of the most unique aspects is a complex road system that extends nearly 6 miles. The system appears to have connected various urban centers, similar to how the Mayans in Mexico and Guatemala arranged their urban networks. Interestingly, the roads are also nearly straight and contain right angles, which displays a level of construction sophistication that'd be difficult to achieve in the terrain found in the Amazon. I read this and I wonder, I thought science was supposed to be open-minded. Why are we making all these assumptions? Like, this guy's whole outlook on what he found and the amazement of the society that they have to figure out and figure out what went on. He's just blown away that they could build straight roads. They used right angles. They did this, that, and the other thing when it was clearly done in Mexico. I understand that the terrain now is different. I understand that the jungle now is different. But what the fuck was here 25,000 years ago? What was here 2,500 years ago? When we went to Shiloh and they were talking about the battles, they kept constantly saying this area didn't look the way it did then. That wasn't 2,500 years ago. Why are they so amazed that things happen? Do we just get in this stuck mindset that we created everything? That modern, quote unquote, modern people have created anything of value in science or technology or anything like that? That there couldn't have possibly been a thriving civilization on this planet that disappeared through some sort of catastrophic event? History is written at the point it's written, but it doesn't ever seem to be revised when new information prior to the known knowledge surfaces. Jim says, FYI, Mason-Dixon is basically the PA and Maryland border. It only goes to that far. It only goes to the end of Maryland. Hunter says that younger Dries guy is going to be super happy. And how do they know? How do they know how old just because it's so deep? I don't know. I think they went in and started exploring a little bit more. I got to dig into it. I didn't realize until this morning when I was looking at that article was 7 months old. There's probably more information put out at this point. I'll have to do a follow-up on that. Canadian Farmstead says LiDAR is a rabbit hole. They have found hundreds of unexplored cities and towns in Central and South America. Right. Why? The stuff in the buried civilizations that they think they're finding in like Turkey, I believe in that general area where they're finding what appears to be remnants of like pyramids and things like that. It really opens your, if you think about it, and you think about it unbiased, like with the possibility of anything being possible, it really jades you to what you've been spoon-fed. Jim says he visited Egypt. Some of the ruins are hundreds of feet down under the sand below the current town. How did it get there? Let's look at Pompeii, where one day it's just encased in lava. Hunter says aliens. I don't even need to go that far. I just said Pompeii. That's a natural disaster that literally encased a city in time. I'm pretty sure they found like the remnants of guys like choking the chicken, eating their breakfast. I don't know if it happened in the morning or the evening or what time Pompeii, Vesuvius erupted. But the wanker, yeah. Immediately just encased, not just in case, encased in lava. When they find the remnants of mammoths that were flash frozen fast enough to still have vegetation in their mouth, in their esophagus, in their stomach. That happens in an instant. Now, what's to say that shit happens and it doesn't continue to happen for God knows how long and end up just disappeared? And we're going to find these things. Who's to say there wasn't a more advanced technology? There was a more advanced civilization on this earth that was completely covered by asteroid hitting the ocean and a huge tidal wave. Things like that. I know it's crazy talk, but why do we just assume that we're at the pinnacle of this world civilization? Jim says, look at how if you leave something out in the woods literally grow up around it. It doesn't sink. The world is coming up around it. Yeah, or it gets covered by something else. Canadian Farm says they can't cope with having thought the wrong thing for 30 years. I guess if you just want to live in your capsule, in your perceived knowledge of the history of the world. I listened a little bit to, and it got me going down this, thinking about this, was this Graham Hitchcock and the other guy. It's been a while now, but talking about the ancient civilizations on where we are now in the United States before the Indians, before the indigenous people, like long before. That kind of is what opened my brain to say, well, maybe all the history and all the science we've learned is just kind of what we think. It's not necessarily the be all and end all. I don't know. John Palmer says, how many times has Jerusalem been rebuilt on top of itself? Hunter says, think Mexicans built those civilizations too? The ones in the United States? Is that what you're talking about? Or are you talking about... I don't think they were Mexicans. I don't think Mexico was around. I don't think the United States was around. And who knows... Who really knows if who even knows if the land masses were the same? Who really knows if they're in the same positions? There's lots of theories about plate shifts and continental shifts and things like that. Who knows? Who knows if the poles were different? Who knows if the orientation of the Earth was different? Who knows if we're even on a globe, guys? Are you open to the flat Earth theory? That's not something I'm going to go down today. But yeah, new civilizations popping up in the Amazon and really all over the world. Discoveries, making discoveries, and verifying older and older and older and older and older. Jim says, any flat earthers? Hunter says, think Pangea single landmass was a thing. Maybe. Maybe not necessarily single landmass, but maybe we've had different formulations of the land masses there are. Maybe some came together and pulled apart and shifted around. I don't know. I wasn't here, and no one else fucking was either. So why do we guess at things and put them off as truth? You can't prove it. You can say you think, look at this and this and this, but until you have proof, until you find the ruins and you date them and you realize what the civilization was, you don't say, oh, well, for the entirety of history, the Amazonian rainforest has just been small groups of naked men running around in the jungle. Because there could never have been a time that the Amazon rainforest wasn't there. There's never been a time that it could have been ice. There's never been a time that it could have been not dense, thick rainforest, you know? Like, so let's just make the assumption that it's a bunch of native, the stereotypical jungle living native tribes. Like, you know what it makes you think of. The face paint, the bones through the nose, like all the Saturday morning cartoons, all of it. The Amazon cannibals, that was the big thing, right? When the cartoons would go and they'd go down the Amazon and they'd get captured by a local tribe, they would like put them on the stick. They would tie their hands and their feet, put the stick and carry them through the jungle and then put them in a big pot of water because they were all cannibals. Yeah. NFL is kicked off again. John Palmer says, yummy, some human bacon. Jim says, wait, isn't this all a Matrix simulation? Maybe. As easily as we change history, as easily as we sway opinions, could it just be a download? Could it just be as simple as changing the code? Who knows? NFL's back in the swing of things, guys. I'm a old school John Palmer. Would you eat me? I'd eat me. I don't know if I would eat me. For a long time, since I was a little kid, I was an NFL fan. So I'm a recovering NFL, a recovering NFL addict. The game left me, the interest left me, my life priorities changed. The culture around the NFL, all of it I watched over my 46 years changed. Maybe I changed and it changed. I don't know which was more, which way it went more. But at some point I realized that it was occupying way too much of my time. My wife helped me figure this out. That I was very much distracted, not only on Sunday afternoon, but every day of the week by something that didn't matter. That doesn't change the fact that for 30 plus years, 40 plus years, that was a focus of my September through January. I spent a lot of time at NFL games through the glory years of the Buffalo Bills, going to playoff games, we went to the home opener in Buffalo like 20 years in a row or some shit. I don't remember how many completely, but even after I moved to Minnesota, I would fly back every year for the home opener. At this point, I casually glance at how the Bills are doing every week ish. I still have some of that shit pop up in my feed. I have a basic understanding of one team and then other headlines around. If I went a week without knowing, it wouldn't bother me at all. It's something that I still converse with my dad about. That's entertaining. So with the first week of the NFL, Food Forest Farm says it's time of year ago. That's that time of year. My backyard smells like cotton candy factory mixed with skunk. The smells of fall. I picked more winners than losers this week. We gave our opener tickets away to go to a gender reveal party for the grandbaby. Anyway, the season opened on Thursday. Mike Homestead says is losing 4 in a row the glory days. Making it to 4 in a row is the glory days. Making it to 4 in a row. It's all perspective, man. It's all perspective. Has your team made it to 4 Super Bowls in a row? So I pulled up. I just wanted to see the headlines. Like I checked the Bills score. They won, by the way, in case you were wondering. But I pulled up the headlines in the NFL just to see, just to get I talk on the internet every day. I kind of keep an eye on what's going on in other things that I don't necessarily focus on. And 2 headlines, the top 2 headlines for Monday morning NFL report. Monday morning, week 1. It started on Thursday, then a whole host of games on Sunday, and then a game on Monday night. Monday morning, I pulled up the recap. Mike Sum says the Patriots had done pretty good. Did they win? Did they make it to 4 in a row? They might have. I don't know. I fucking hated them just because I was told to. But the 2 headlines, the top 2 headlines in the NFL section were about Taylor Swift. Why? What a fucking circus that is. And then a player for the Dolphins, Tyreek Hill, who used to play for Taylor Swift's boyfriend's team. This dude got pulled over on his way to the game on Sunday. I watched the video this morning. They did that guy dirty. Not a huge NFL fan, not a Miami Dolphins fan by any means, not rooting for the players or assuming that he did nothing wrong, but they did that guy pretty dirty. They did him pretty fucking dirty. They've already, that the cops are going to take the blame for it when they've already released the body cam footage, and it happened Sunday morning. Literally they pulled him over, and it starts when they wanted to start. He got pulled over for going too fast. He admits he was going too fast. He was on the way to the stadium. He was driving. It looked like some sort of Lamborghini or something that had the flip open doors. He was very respectful, from what I could tell. Basically, Mike Homestead said they won 6 and played in at least 2 others. Did they make it to 4 in a row? That was the question. I don't give a fuck how many they've won. Fruit Forest Farm says cops already relieved of duty. Yeah, so they come up. They have a patrol, like 4 or 5 fucking bike cops behind them, motorcycle cops. Chips, I know that's California. Flips, Florida motorcycle police. they come up and they're like, hey, and they're talking to him. And the guy's like, he's like, I was very respectful. He's like, I never even dropped my name. Like he said, I didn't name drop. I wasn't trying to get out anything. Like I was respectful to the guy. And from everything I could tell, that you could hear on the audio, he was. I didn't hear him say, do you know who I am or anything like that. But he was concerned that what if he wasn't? What if he didn't have the support he did after the fact? So the cop is like, whatever. And he's like, why? He's asking him these questions. He was super aggressive right off the bat. Asked him for his information. He hands him the information. He rolls his window up. So what? The cop is going to go check his information. The cop like starts fucking freaking out, banging on the window. Roll your window down, or I'm going to pull you out of the fucking car. They literally open his window or open his door and pull him out, put him on the ground and cuff him. Like at this point, I don't know what he did wrong that warranted this. Fucking cops. Still respectful as he's on the ground. He was on the phone with his agent. He probably rolled up the window so he could talk to his fucking agent on the side of the highway saying, hey, dude, I'm getting arrested. And so they got him on the ground, still fairly respectful for the position he was in. They get him up, handcuffed behind his back. They got him standing on the fucking side of the road next to the curb. And the one cop super aggressively is like, now sit down. And he's like, I recently had surgery on my knee. I can't just like drop to the curb. And the other guy comes up behind him and he's like fucking wrestling him immediately to the ground. Why is this okay? Why is this an NFL player? I don't give two fucks. Anybody. Why are they being dragged out of their car into the street? Why is this okay? What did he do? And they said that one cop has been relieved of duty. More than one cop put their hands on this man because he rolled his window up, because he drove his car too fast, because they didn't like him, because they were in a bad mood. Why is it okay that they put their hands on that man? I hope he sues the living fuck out of that police department. That's training. That's culture. That's not one cop doing that shit. Not when there's 4 of them standing there. 5 of them. I couldn't count how many flashing lights on the bikes behind them. Why is that okay? I understand why it's in the NFL headlines, but why isn't that video everywhere? Why isn't that video an example of it's not always the victim's fault? There are plenty of times Rewilder Life says, oh, you guys like the sun coming up behind there? Rewilder Life says, same police that never protected my niece and nephews for 20 years in an abusive family. What exactly do they do? Right. That's one of the big issues here in town, in the small town here in Tennessee, is they have a police department. They have a part-time police officer. Other than that, it's patrolled by the county sheriffs. The rhetoric for the people that support the police, we need people here to protect and serve. Jack Spirko might have been the first one that that clicked the button in my head when he said, "When's the last time a police officer protected you?" When's the last time a police officer protected you? Or do they show up after the fact to take information to possibly maybe find the person that wronged you, harmed you, committed a crime against you? When's the last time you were walking down the street and, whoo, that cop was there to protect me? Intercept a crime. Stop a crime. How much are they protecting? And who are they serving? They weren't serving Tyreek Hill. I mean, maybe they were serving him a face full of fucking road sandwich. Protect and serve. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Food Forest Farms says that now here in Seattle, they just tell them to fill it out online and don't even send a human to take the report. I stayed out of the conversation. I ran across the conversation from some high school acquaintances. I don't know if I'd call them friends. Yeah, probably. Not now. Then, maybe. They're talking about anarchy. From an ignorant place. They were talking about anarchy from the vision that the media, the powers to be want you to have of anarchy. That it means no rules, no laws, chaos everywhere. That's not really the case. And I stayed out of it. Rewilder Life says it's why I like voluntarism. Yeah, but yeah. Food Forest Farm says orderly chaos. I mean, what's the non-aggression principle? The non-aggression principle takes care of the chaos. Jim says dad's a cop, brother's a cop, uncle's cousins cops. I have cops in my family. Thanks. You did your job. Ruala Life says I used to be very pro Popo. Grandpa was one for 36 years. It's a weird subject. Ruala Life says that has a negative connotation. I get it. I understand. So does pride now. We've redefined words. So does that mean you stop using it? That's when they win, man. I'm not saying that the solution is to use anarchy. Maybe it's to educate people that they're wrong. Maybe it's to be a voice for the actual definition. maybe you use it despite the negative connotation. And when people question you about it, you give them more. You use that as a way to open a conversation. Because if somebody automatically won't talk to you because you say you're an anarchist, you're not going to change their mind. But who fucking cares? The person that says something and is willing to listen to your reply, maybe you got something to work with. Or maybe you just give permission to people to not be scared of using the word. Maybe there's a lot of people there that are using voluntarism, or maybe they don't know about voluntarism, a secondary term for anarchism, but they're like, I've done some reading, and this anarchy thing is interesting to me. It doesn't feel like what they made it out to be in the news. How many people are out there like that now you have kind of thrown out there that it's okay to use the word? What do we do when we change to voluntarism? Voluntarism. It's so hard to say. Anarchism. It's so easy and smooth. What happens when we change to that word and then they turn that into Mad Max world? Rewiler Life says, educate for sure. I think it's more folks are afraid of absolute freedom. It's a scary thing. Absolute freedom is scary because you're responsible for yourself. And since we came out of the womb, we've been told that we're not responsible for ourselves. And more and more and more and more and more and more, it's just ramped up. How do you grow government when you can't convince people that they don't need it? Jim says so few want to have their minds changed. They do mental gymnastics when they hear something like anarchy. Hey, Airhead USMC over in the vertical feed. Good morning, sweetheart, to you also. Hope everything is going well. Jarhead. Out there saving the world. Very few people do want their mind changed. Food Forest Farm says, or we use the word decentralized. But decentralized organization. I mean, this is a discussion for another day. Put it on the list. Anyway, it's quarter after. I got to get wrapped up here. I gotta get things rolling. I gotta end up heading out to the gully and get some time in out there before the rain sets in on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We'll see what 3 inches of rain does to the road and the property in general. So I'm super excited to see about that. Tim and I had a conference yesterday, or a meeting about Workday, about SRF and things like that. If you are interested in coming to the Workdays, definitely make sure you're in the Telegram group, the Delinquents Gully Bond and Bash. I can't remember what the exact term we used. I'll have to pull that up, but it's been pretty quiet over there. We got to get some chats going, get some firm counts as to when and how many people are showing up, or at least a better handle on it now that we're getting within a month of the actual date. People should be finalizing plans for heading out. Other than that, yeah, you can reach out to me. I can give you a link to that I can give you a link to that group if you want to join. If you're heading out to Camden for SRF, you're going to be in town Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday with nothing to do. We'd love to have you down and build some community. Maybe chip in with a little work, enjoy some company and some food, and yeah, build community. That will most likely all be heading to SRF, so you already will know someone when you get there. Beyond that, I hope you guys all have a great day. It's Tuesday. It's the beginning of the week. It's not even hump day over the hump. It's not Thursday, Friday Eve. It's Tuesday. Tuesday is kind of like the black duck. You know, you get back to work on Monday, Wednesday over the hump. Thursday, you only got a day left. And Friday is Friday. But what the fuck is Tuesday? Just another day to get shit done. So head out there, get it done, go to work if you got to. If you don't have to, get some other shit done for yourself. Make your life better today. Do something today for yourself to make your life better and your future better forever. Hope you have an awesome day, and we will catch up with you tomorrow.
I can see the light. I can feel the sun.